Substitute resolution approving the HaRUNbee 5K walk for healthy birth outcomes as part of Bronzeville Week in 2018. Hello.
Hello.
Come on up. Come on up, Bronzeville team. I saw Alderwoman Kaj. Did she leave? Come on up. Deshae, come on up. Want to put the suit jacket on?
Yes, sir.
All right. Come on up. Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right. Please introduce yourselves for the record and tell us about this Bronzeville Week piece.
HaRUNbee 5K for healthy birth outcomes. My name is Tonda Thompson. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for the Milwaukee Life Course Initiative for Healthy Families. I know that's long. It's with United Way. It's a special initiative which is co-chaired by Mayor Barrett and Wanda Montgomery at Children's Hospital.
Okay. Excellent.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members, Deshae Agee, Executive Director of Historic King Drive Bid, and I'll let Tonda take the lead.
Excellent.
Definitely. Alderwoman Cox is on her way.
Okay.
So let's do the slideshow here.
Yeah. Hey, Tonda, could you use the mic, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So we can.
Whatever you want to do.
Thank you. I won't be long. Let's do this.
Okay.
All right, so the HaRUNbee Walk Run for Healthy Birth Outcomes is very special to me, which will be on Saturday, August 4th, 2018. I guess I'm stuck in 2017, but 2018 in the HaRUNbee community here.
What, did y'all do it in 2017?
We did it in
Okay.
2017 and 2016, so this is the third time
Gotcha.
we're going at this.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to run down the history, why it's important as to what we do. Last year's turnout and the year before's turnout, the goal for this year, and how to get registered, and how to stay connected with me as well as Bronzeville Week Committee. So this is important. The history is important for everything, correct?
Absolutely.
Why am I here? This footprint here is actually my deceased son's footprint. I got into this work because I had a baby boy 5 years ago. I was heart-stricken. My family took a turn. I up front seen the effects of infant mortality on African-American families within our city. So he only lived for 17 hours, but he's making a change of many people's lives around the city. So I'm here representing Terrell, which is his name, Bigfoot. That's what we call him. And
That was his name, Bigfoot?
Bigfoot, we call him.
That's his footprint?
Yes, his footprint is it's on my arm, and it's very, very large. So I don't know where that came from, but yes.
Okay.
So in Terrell's honor, I became an advocate for healthy birth outcomes in the city. I started to look at the data, and I was very concerned about what was going on. So I became a public ally, and I joined the Milwaukee Life team and started to make a change in our community. Our call to action was to create a 5K in honor of my son, as well as other babies in the city just like him. HaRUNbee is a name that's created from the HaRUNbee community name. I was born and raised in the HaRUNbee neighborhood, which is 53212 is the targeted zip code of Milwaukee Life Course mission.
Okay.
As I mentioned about my son. This is my son here. He only lived a day. Infant mortality refers to the number of infants who die before the first birthday, and our infant mortality rate refers to the number of infant deaths per 1,000 live births during a given period of time. This is important to know those terms. Mm-hmm. The work is important because Milwaukee infant mortality rate is one of the highest in the nation, and in a sense is one of the highest in the world, to be honest. Among these cities, I don't know if you can see this graph, which is provided by the City of Milwaukee FEMA data report.
Okay.
Among all of these cities, African-American babies are dying at a significant rate. I'm going too fast compared to other races in other cities.
I can't see that one. What city is that? 1, 2, 3 from the furthest right.
Detroit.
The highest one with the blue.
Detroit is the highest. Dallas is a little bit higher than Detroit, but Detroit is the highest.
Detroit is the highest?
Well, the overall rate, Detroit has the highest, but for the black rate, Dallas has the highest. Milwaukee comes in at about third place with that.
Okay, Alderman
within
Rainey.
those cities.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Thompson, what would you say are the similarities shared between these cities that makes infant mortality such a concern in each of these communities? What are the similarities?
The factors within the African American community, such as poverty, risk factors that are impacting mothers internally and mentally and physically, has a great effect on an infant being born in the city. And a lot of those similarities are compared to cities that are surrounded by the Great Lakes as well, which has high African American populations within those cities.
Okay.
Is there anything a mother can do during the 9 months of carrying a child to offset infant mortality, or is this an issue that's completely isolated from one another?
Well, within our city, prematurity is the number one factor, the number one risk factor for infant deaths in our city, which is that 55% of our babies are dying from that. You really cannot reverse prematurity. I won't say that, but it's really hard to say what causes prematurity. There's so many factors. There's stress, there's lack of good healthcare access, there's lack of good jobs, there's lack of many different factors, such as a mom not having good food sources to eat. So all of those factors are causing these premature actions or premature activities to happen within the mom, and it causes infant deaths in the long term. So,
Does any of these cities that share a high rate of infant mortality also have a lead issue as well?
I don't know that, but we do know that Detroit has a lead issue, and lead could be considered as a factor for infant deaths as well. Don't quote me. We do have a city health department, that I would have to refer to with this infant mortality, the FEMA data, to be strong on. But definitely, we know that Detroit has an issue with lead, and we know we do as well.
Thank you.
I have that data for you if you want me to send it to you.
If I can just make one comment, I'm not an expert in this in no way, shape, or form, but I would just add education around what leads to healthy birth outcomes would be something that is also important in that conversation.
Okay.
Definitely, and that's why we have the HaRUNbee walk run to teach moms to have pregnancy intendedness and to make sure that you're in shape and you're ready, if you're ready or if you are active, of course, and if you do get pregnant, you're in physical and mental stability to have a baby. You have good stability to have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a little bit more explaining the data. This is for 2017. This was the 2017 infant mortality FEMA data report. African American babies died 3 times faster than Caucasian babies in our city. So if you know a young African American baby, that baby has a higher risk of dying, from the Caucasian baby that you know. With this, our infant mortality rate within the African American community decreased last year, but it's really not moving as fast as we wanted to.
What does that number indicate? 14.9 out of something, or is that total?
So-
What does that number mean?
That's the infant mortality rate, so that's per 100 live births. That is the rate for that number
per
right there.
100. Gotcha.
So compared to the overall rate, which is 9.4, our African American community has a really high rate, and that's compared across the world. That is a very high rate across the world. And this is another graph here explaining the disparity between the black-white gap, showing when I mentioned African American babies died 3 times faster than Caucasian babies. Our infant mortality rate is decreasing, but as we see, we are having more Caucasian babies who are affected by infant mortality now, so that is actually shortening our gap now and making that rate go down further, but the rate within the African American community is not changing as we need it to.
Okay.
All right, so over the past 2 years, this 5K is the first 5K in the United States that speaks towards that racial disparities in birth outcomes. It's held right in the heart of the community. I've been asked all over, like, hey, can you host this walk run on the lakefront, Veterans Park, you know? But I think
street is that?
that is North Avenue.
North.
That's 6th and North Avenue right there. I think it's very important because I remember my parents taking me to this business district when I was a young person, and how if that felt like downtown to me, you know, when I was a kid.
Right.
So I want to, you know, keep that memory living on and keep that street thriving as it should. But
So where's the 5 miles? Where are we going? From where to where?
this year we're not going to start on 6th and North, but we're going to start on North Avenue. We're going to start at MLK and North Avenue on the corner where Pete's reside. And we're going to stay on MLK. Last year we went down 2nd Street, but this year we're going to stay on MLK between Locust and Valete Street.
Okay.
And it is, last year's route was certified, but this route is recertified as of now. We just received our new certification to solidify that as a U.S. track and field track. Over 400 people were registered, 450 people registered. 125 volunteers participated. And we are a timed race, so if anyone wants to join this race, you will have your time timed and all of that good stuff. We get accurately. We have people from all over the region. Race time is actually a time group from Chicago, so they bring all of their people from Chicago.
Yeah.
They're interested in joining the run, so it's a regional run. It's not just something that's locally.
What was the shortest time last year? Who won? Well, lady, did you win?
Mandela Barnes
Did
won
he?
last year with 21 minutes, I believe. So
that's fast.
he kind of killed it last year. So I know he's gonna. I'm hoping that he comes through and kill it again this year.
Okay.
Goals for this year, we want to continue that. We want to double our participation. I've been to a lot of 5Ks. After last year's 5K, I'm like, I can't organize a 5K myself and can't run one. So I started running 5Ks, and I know it's doable to where we could have a large turnout ourselves on King Drive here. Following the race, we will have live on Key Drive at the race. At Pete's Fruit Market in Brownsville. So I have the bid here to talk more about that.
Okay.
Sure. Again, I just want to speak to about what the event is itself. I had a niece, Raja, that lived a year and a day. So this particular event, it hits home, and I had a cousin this year, Nala Muhammad, that lived basically just over 5 months. So this event kind of hits home, and it's important to really get the word out about that education side. And so when I think about not only the event, but how do we make sure that it comes together with Brownsville Week? It is the kickoff to Brownsville Week, as was stated. It's an event that Alderwoman Cox has strongly supported, and is now a city event. Meaning the Brownsville Week itself. And so we wanted to make sure that as Black Arts MKE Fest this year was starting on the same day that we have traditionally kicked off the festival, and talking with Alderwoman Cox and the Brownsville committee, we had conversation around making sure that we had another event that the runners and those who participate in HaRUNbee Walk Run could participate in. So the event live on King Drive was an idea of Linda Jackson Conyers, actually of the Milwaukee Times, and she wanted to figure out a way where more of the local businesses on King Drive can participate in a particular event where they can come outside of their particular brick and mortar and be at an event. And so she came to the Alderwoman and also the bid and said, have this idea, and the bid board supported funding this particular event. So we're going from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m., and it will take place at Pete's Fruit Market on the more northern end of their lot. We'll have a stage, sound, local businesses that are already operating on King Drive, again, coming outside of their brick and mortar onto Pete's lot. It's a great way for the participants to experience King Drive more right in the front door, and also as a way for us to highlight some local bands. So we're looking to have music, a little bit of poetry, and again, a way for us to just make sure that we're highlighting some of the local talent we have. I know Alderman Rainey has created the initiative Hip Hop Week. Alderwoman Cox has, again, the Brownsville Festival, where we have those 3 stages this year, with gospel being the event being on Sunday. We also have the youth stage and the main stage. So we want to make sure we just had something to sort of accent the HaRUNbee Walk Run. So this particular Live on King Drive event is something we plan to do again during this particular calendar year. But this first one will be for the HaRUNbee Walk Run. Again, it will be August 4th from 11 until 2 at Pete's. And again, it's a way to support Pete's and encourage people to not only come out for the walk run, but to also be able to support Pete's Fruit Market, which is our local grocery store and has helped us solve that food desert issue along the Bronzeville North Avenue corridor and on King Drive.
Alderwoman Cox.
Before I get
Always
into
a
my,
pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Before I get into my spiel, I would like Tanda to tell people how they can register.
Definitely. And thank you, Alderwoman Cox, for being such a champion on HaRUNbee. This is how you register. You go to UnitedWayGMWC.org/HaRUNbee. People have been seeing the commercials in Marcus Theaters. So Marcus Theaters is one of our sponsors, as well as Freighter Health is our presenting sponsor. So if you Google HaRUNbee, you will see all the registration information that you may need.
What day is the 4th this year? Is that a Saturday?
That's a Saturday.
Okay. So do you have that day, same day registration?
Yes, we have same-day registration. Registration opens up at 7:30 a.m. and the race begins at 9 a.m.
Gotcha. All right.
Registration, there's quite of a selection of registration. We have runners and walkers. There's a $30 fee for runners. If you're running individually, walkers, $25 individually. But if you have a team, it's $15 per adult. Anybody who's a youth who would not like a shirt, they are free. But if you like a shirt, you will be paying $15 for the shirt.
Gotcha. What does a team consist of? 2 or more people? 3?
Everything, I'm sorry, say that again?
What does the team consist of? How many people do you need for a team?
At least 10 people need to be on the team, and all of the proceeds really benefits just to pay the cost for the event.
Gotcha. All right. Alderwoman Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee, for hearing this file today.
Oh, yeah.
I first want to give thanks to Tanda Thompson for having the vision to create such a great event. You know, we've been doing Bronzeville Week. This will be the 6th year this year that we've been doing it. And, you know, Tanda has always helped and supported. But a few years ago, when she came to me with the concept, her and LaShondra Vernon came to me with the concept and idea of HaRUNbee. I think the first year we just talked about it and we didn't do it. But the next year, she spent that year planning and then came back the next year ready to go full force with it. It's really a no-brainer. Bronzeville, you know, is the African-American arts and cultural district. But, you know, as we talk about arts and culture, we have to be healthy enough to be able to partake in the arts and culture. And in the Bronzeville area, we've had very public fights for access to healthy food and a whole bunch of other things. And we have a wonderful clinic and other things there that it just makes sense that although we're concentrated on arts and culture and commerce and all of that, that we pay some attention to health. I have an affinity for the HaRUNbee because it hits me personally as well. I have a nephew, Nasir, that passed away at 5 months. It is something, infant deaths is something that plagues the African-American community here in the city of Milwaukee. And if through this run, we are able to help educate the community, and in this zip code, it's a pretty high number as well. So bringing the run, the education that comes with it, and the awareness that comes with it right to a community that needs it so much, I think is I'm proud to be a part of having brought it. to King Drive and to Brownsville. And again, I just thank Tonda and United Way for helping, and all the sponsors for helping to make it happen. And I'm proud for them to continue to be, because, you know, sometimes you got a great idea and it might work once, but to be in our third year of having done this and be going strong, I think it's great. Like she said, this year will be a little bit different. As an audit person, I can say this. I have heard the concerns of the residents of 2nd Street about getting that street closed out for the walk run. And taking that in mind is something that Tonda did this year to recertify and reroute it so that it would disturb residents the least in order to still continue to do this. And also in our communal effort, because it's funny because the word HaRUNbee, which HaRUNbee is based upon, means Swahili for let's pull together. So in that effort as well, with the Black Arts MKE bringing back an African American festival to the city's lakefront.
Perfect.
The committee made the decision not to do the festival on the 4th. The festival has moved to that Sunday on the 5th, but we still wanted to keep the tradition of the run going, and now have wrapped a whole new event around it that we hope the community comes out and takes a part in. Go to the run and come back and be live on King Drive on August 4th.
It's excellent. Excellent. Okay, any questions by committee members? Okay, so we look forward to the HaRUNbee walk.
Thank you.
Did you want to have some closing comments, Tonda? Or?
I just want to thank Alderwoman Cox for her work and her diligence to keeping HaRUNbee strong. HaRUNbee is certified for 10 years, so I'm looking to keep it going strong for that long. We got to make sure that our babies are strong and healthy, and this is the way to do that. And also thanks to Deshae and MLK Bid for supporting us as well.
Okay, well, we look forward to it. All right, excellent. So this needs to be placed on file. So this needs to be adopted. Excuse me. Alderman Perez moves for adoption. Hearing no objections or order. Thank you guys so much. Congratulations. Have a wonderful day.